You guys are probably familiar with my testing series where I test different routes and vehicles across the GTA 5 map. In this video I will do something similar, except it's on the Cayo Perico island. Normally this island is only accessible if you do the Cayo Perico heist or if you visit the island, but in that case you have quite restricted access. The only other way to exit this is through glitches, mods, in single player or on a 5's server. In today's video I used mods in single player to have access to the island, and using this I will test a couple different routes with the best vehicle naturally available on the island, which is the Manchez Scout, and then additionally I will test a couple different vehicles that aren't normally available on the island. But enough yapping, let's get onto the first route with the Manchez Scout. For first run we have the Manchez Scout as mentioned before. This vehicle spawns, on the island if you're doing, for example, the scouting mission, so it is, the most realistic option in this video. It is a very fast bike, especially if you wheelie. You can actually control it quite well and you wheelie. You want to really like as much as possible, but sometimes you have to watch out you don't jump too much because, well, if you hit a little bump on the dirt, you might jump a little bit. So for this first route, it's going to be changing here. We're going to be going right instead of straight in the other route. And basically what we do is just follow the road on the right side of the island. It's a relatively small island, there's not that many roads. I think I have 3 routes for the bike and this is one of them. This is the first one, which is, well, little spoiler, is the slowest. That's especially due to this section. It's not, I think, the longest, but like this section you have to slow down a lot and you just take corners, you can't just wheelie all the time. Same for, it continues in here. It's just a lot of turns, which really reduces speed compared to the other route. And then here, once again, a little hairpin. It's just, it just reduces your speed. And in the end, we will have a time of around 1 minute and 10 seconds. Here we have the second run, which uses a slightly different route. Well, slightly different is just the left route. Instead of going right as before, we go on the left path around the island, basically. There's basically 2 roads leading towards the compound, and well, it's either left or right. And in this one, we just go straight at that little checkpoint area, the little gate thingy we have. I think in this one, I arrive at the same time at 29 seconds, but I actually do like a cool thing here. I believe like I fit through the gap right here. This was actually first try. I did this one first, but it was faster than the other one, so I put it afterwards. But yeah, you just go here. You keep a lot more speed compared to the other one, because these turns really don't reduce your speed that much. And also the section after this, as you can see here, you just go straight, then you have a little bit of a turn, and then this section, although it's a bit twisty, it's not as twisty as the other section. And it's also like massively going downhill right here, which is definitely helping with speed. And you see like this section is a little bit twisty, but not that twisty. And we arrive at like around 1 minute 2 seconds, which is very, very decent. So next up we have the, well, I would say ideal route. At first I thought, oh, this is going to be a risky one, because I was testing out some routes. And, one route, obviously this route is not going to use the road, right? Because, well, there's only 2 roads, so what else is left? Exactly, going off-road. And originally I wanted to go through a path that was more direct, but went through the jungle, so then you have very much the inconsistency, and it's also just trees and bushes blocking your path. But in the end I decided to go for a much easier route, and this is very easy to replicate. And in this attempt I did a decent job, but I think if you perfect it you could probably even go a little bit faster. But this was quite a decent run. If you mess up here a little bit, you might go on the rocks and you have to climb up a bit. Might lose you like 1 or 2 seconds, but not that much. But yeah, it's really easy. Like there's not that many bushes you can hit, and it's quite easy. And then here you go, and just keep a bit right. If you go too much left, you go into the fence. But yeah, if I hit it even better, I can probably shave off like 1 or 2 seconds. But in the end, it's like a 58, 59 second time, which is very, very fast. Next up we have more of a fantasy pick. So this is the Felon 5-seater, kind of the plane you arrive with. And let's imagine you can actually take it. You can go up in the air. The one thing I want to note here is I started a timer when it started moving forwards. But normally when you climb into this vehicle, with the bike you climb on, turns on, you go. This one, turn it on and the propeller slowly starts spinning. That takes a lot of time. In my previous testing, people say, oh, test blah blah blah, but that takes a long time. Getting into the plane, also climbing in, takes a lot of time. But if you don't consider that, it's going to be a bit faster than the plane. than the not the plane, than the Manchez. As you can see here, we will land and arrive at around 50-ish seconds. Depends how much you want to crash into the thing, but 51 seconds in the end. The next thing is the helicopter, which you still have to get into and start up, but it's a lot less long than the plane, especially a Vellum, which takes a long time to take off. And this, as you can see already, it has a high top speed, takes off faster, will be a bit easier to land, although I do like quite a quick landing because it's like, I felt like the speedrun mode. As you can see, 20 seconds and we're already in our downwards approach towards the fence. And I was like, okay, let me crash into a little bit. And 28 seconds, we were right there. Then I had to think, okay, what can beat a 28-second time? Yeah, that's right. Rocket-powered motorcycle. So we went into the Presser Mark 1. I did a couple routes, like kind of trying to get the boost and the gliding. I'm not very good at the Presser Mark 1. Like, I had it back on Xbox in 2017, 18, something like that. I never really bought it on PC, so I haven't used this like in a long time. I've used it in between sometimes, but not that much. But in the end, we get also around like a 28, 29 second time. Obviously like a little bit scuffed. But if you're a lot better, you can definitely get a way better time with the Mark 1. I'm just not that good at it, but that's why I put it in front of the Sparrows, even though it got like a little bit worse time. It's just because I'm a worse pilot, but I think you can definitely shave off a couple seconds there. Then we have the, well, I'm just going to spoil it right now, the ultimate king of this. It's the Oppressor Mark II. This thing was rapid, and as you can see here, it takes 22 seconds, and you're right there. So, in the end, what can we conclude from our testing? Well, a couple things. So first of all, Oppressor Mark II definitely the fastest by far. Because the island is so small, it doesn't really lose out to something like a Sparrow, because a Sparrow still needs a bit of time to land and take off. If we test a jet, maybe that will win out a little bit, but even that takes a little bit. And because this distance is so small, I think the Oppressor Mark II will definitely be your best bet. But then realistically, again, how often do you use that? That's why I want to talk a little bit more about the Manchez routes, because those you might use a little bit, although you still have to adapt a little bit, because the objective of getting to the compound is not always the same. It's whatever. But in the end, the route across the mountain was a lot easier than I thought, and definitely the best. Like, you save so much time, and even if you mess up a little bit, you're not gonna lose that much time. But if you want to take the safe route, you can also go to the left side and just take a little bit faster lines, and then you should be fine as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget to like and subscribe.